what I'm wearing right now, I made myself. So I have learned how to make wigs, and I sold wigs. Yes, you guys, I learned how to make wigs. I sold wigs. I started supplying wigs to a hair salon, and looking at my family dynamics, this is where I can be at this point. This is what I can be doing. I cannot start going to school now because of so. There's still something you can do from the confines of your home. You cannot just sit, fold your arms, and be waiting for your husband to bring money, or be feeling sorry for yourself. I mean, even if your husband is Dangote, or even if your husband is the richest man in the world, there's a certain satisfaction that every woman will get from spending money that they earned. So
what can't you do? What won't you do? Nothing impossible.
hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by once again. So if this is your first time seeing my face, my name is Judita, and I make videos on faith, marriage, and lifestyle in general. So in today's video, I want to share with you guys how I dealt with being financially interdependent on my husband after getting married at the age of 21. So why did I decide to talk about this? First of all, I've realized that it's a trend. Should I say a trend? It's happening a lot that young girls are getting married. Young girls are leaving the university and thinking of getting into marriage. And in most cases, I mean, a man will not come to marry a woman if he cannot afford to pay rent, if he cannot afford a job that he calls his own, if he cannot afford to fund a family. So of course, the men who come to marry these girls when they are leaving from the university, or when they are about the age of 21, 22, 23, and maybe right up to, let's say, 25, the men who come to marry these girls are, I would not like to say made men, but I would like to call them financially stable, at least. I mean, they might not be having the most splendid job on earth, or they might not be having like excess overflow of cash, but then they should have a source of income if you're coming to marry a woman. Now, why am I talking about this? Because there's something that I faced, and I feel like a lot of young women who get married without having a job or without being financially capable will face, and will probably shy away from talking about it even with their own spouses. And so today I'm going to be talking about that. So when I got married at the age of 21. I left from my parents' house to my husband's house, or to my house, to call it that way. And I left from being under my parents in terms of finances. I got married when I had never earned my own money. Like, I had never worked and had to earn money. I have never really had to be alone, as in an independent young woman who lives in her own hostel. I stayed all through my university days. I stayed with my parents. 4 years in university, I stayed with my parents, and I never went to boarding school. So I've just been at home, and then from home I went into another home. And the truth is, like it or not, when you leave your parents' house as a woman, you're living from submitting to your parents, and you're going into submitting to your husband. That is if you're living and getting married. So if you leave your parents' house, then you get married, you're living from a position of submission to your parents, and then submission to your husband, and living from a position of dependence on your parents into a position of interdependence with yourself and your husband. And I say interdependence because in marriage there's nothing like dependence or independence, because we are all depending on each other for something. So there's interdependence in marriage. That's how I see it. So when I got married, I was 21, and my husband was working and he was providing, and I had all the things I needed. But coming from the background that I came from, I knew that I had to find a way to earn my own money. I mean, my mom never sat and folded her hands in the house. So I knew that at some point I have to find a way to earn my own money, and not just for self satisfaction, but just because, I mean, it's inconveniencing when you know that you're totally dependent on somebody else. I mean, this is another human being. For you to be totally dependent on him, your life, everything. And I have my standard that I want to meet up to. I have things that I want to give myself, that I know that, I mean, I need to put in a bit into whatever it is I want to give myself. Not that I just sit and lay back and then I'm depending on somebody. So in my early years of marriage, like for the first 2 years of marriage, I really had a problem with the fact that I wasn't making any money, bringing any money into the family. And now I didn't have that problem because my husband didn't provide, or because he complained. I had that problem because of the background that I came from, and because I know that it is not proper for a full-bodied human being, grown human being with a degree. I mean, right now in the world, a degree is really like first school living certificate, to be honest. And when I look at the fact that I have just a degree, it is set as a, like, the first layer for you to build up on it. I've always just been looking at myself like, what can I really do to support this man. And the thing is, my husband really does a lot, or he did a lot. I mean, he still does a lot. And so I felt like if I was putting in just small to what he does, I mean, we'll make a power couple. So if he's bringing in this percentage and I'm bringing this percentage, it will make a whole lot of help. And so I was trying to I was just fighting with myself, like, what do I do? What can I do? Most times when we get married, like, we have plans. Like, the plan was, oh, we just get married and you continue doing your master's. But I got pregnant, and I know myself, I want to have better grades than I had in my first degree, and I know that pregnancy will probably not be a walk in a park, and it's something that I had not experienced. And so I just had to give myself the time, and then things unfold. Like, if you're married, you know that there's a certain level of compromise that has to occur between you and your spouse, and sometimes it entails you giving up a lot of things that you want to do at the time. I mean, not giving up forever, but at some point in your life you would have to push back a lot of things. And so, yeah, I had that issue, and I decided, what can I do to make myself um financially, is it viable, like, to become more of an asset? And I always said this to my husband, like, I want to be an asset and not a liability to you. And he was like, why do you think you're a liability? And I was looking at it more from the financial aspect, forgetting that there's a lot that I do that boils down to what comes back into the house from him. And so, yeah, in today's video, I just want to share with you guys a couple of things that I ended up doing that helped me a whole lot, and that are still helping me now to deal with that, and how I'm becoming financially viable, or how I'm becoming more of an asset, like I will put it, in terms of finances, because I've always been an asset in terms of what I do at home with the kids, with him, and every other thing. But now I'm becoming an asset in terms of finances, because I see my finances growing in Jesus' name. Amen. Type amen down below. Okay, so the first thing I want to advise you, if you're in this position where you feel like, oh, I need to make money, oh, what can I do, what can I do? The first thing I want to advise you is, you have to see yourself as an asset and not a liability. And then, while seeing yourself as an asset, work on it. Discover a skill. I mean, look at yourself. What's the skill that you have? What's that raw, plain skill that you have, that you know you can build on, you can develop, and I mean, you can find pleasure in doing what you're doing, and work on that skill. Do you know how to do hair? I mean, I know how to do a lot of things. I make all my wigs that you see me wear on this channel, and that's the period that I took to learn how to make wigs, because I was at home and I cannot sit at home like that doing nothing. So I started learning how to make wigs, and I learned on YouTube. All the wigs you've seen me wear on this channel, some of the hairstyles, like braids you've seen me have on this channel, I'm going to leave like videos of, or images of the things I've done for you guys to see, and I learned on my own. All the braids, all the wigs, all the pixie wigs, the braided wigs, all what I'm wearing right now, I made myself. So I have learned how to make wigs, and I sold wigs. Yes, you guys, I learned how to make wigs. I sold wigs. I started supplying wigs to his hair salon, and the girl was like, where did you learn how to make wigs? Because I bought these things that I could put my wigs on. I'll take it to the hair salon, and then I'm going to tell her the prices, or write the prices there, and I was making money from that. I told people in church I knew how to plait rasta, I knew how to do faux locks, and a lot of people came for me to do it, and I made money. I mean, not a lot of money, but just I was making money. I was feeling fulfilled from that. So you can identify whatever it is that is a skill, and I'm not limiting you. I'm not trying to tell you that, oh, you should forget about your dreams of having white collar job. But in terms of, especially if you're in Cameroon, you know that things are hard in Cameroon. In Cameroon, you can have a PhD and you're driving taxi. You can have masters and you're driving taxi. And the truth is that it's just because of lack of information, and maybe because sometimes we also just get really drawn back by the system, and we're just like, oh my god, I'm done, let me just hustle the smallest hustle possible, and just get the smallest money possible. And that's how we just live very basic lives. But then what I'm saying is, that moment that you know that, okay, looking at my family dynamics, this is where I can be at this point, this is what I can be doing. I cannot start going to school now because of so. There's still something you can do from the confines of your home. You cannot just sit, fold your arms, and be waiting for your husband to bring money, or be feeling sorry for yourself. I mean, if you have your husband that, even if your husband is, the truth is, even if your husband is Dangote, or even if your husband is the richest man in the world, there's a certain satisfaction that every woman will get from spending money that they earned. The next point I want to talk about is, I see a lot of people saying, oh, trust the process. Sis, don't trust the process. Trust God through the process of bringing you to your best self. and always talk to God. Like, I don't know, this is only going to make sense to you if if you have a relationship with God, and you're going to understand what I'm saying. It's so easy for you to feel relief. Like, I literally, these days, I literally pray for something, and the next minute after praying for it, like, I start seeing a manifestation of that prayer, because my spirit man is open to the working of God in my life. So I encourage you to trust God through the process of becoming your best self. Don't trust the process. The process can fail you anytime. Trust God in the process. Trust God in the process. And as you keep on trying to locate a skill, building on it, trust God, be honest, work hard, and support your spouse in what they are doing. And that's why you have to pick the right spouse. I cannot overemphasize that, because if you pick a wrong spouse, he will crush all your efforts of trying to do anything. I can remember when I was doing, there was a day that there were times I had to plait people's hair. There were times I had to plait two different people their hair on the same day, and I was pregnant. My husband would be like, babe, you don't have to do this. I'm like, I'll do it. There are other women who are doing it. It was like, oh, is there something? What do you need the money for? I'm like, it's not that what I need the money for. I want to do it because I love doing it. I want to learn. And at that time, we were preparing to also travel. I was like, okay, if we travel, this is a skill that sells out there. So the more I plait, the more I get a hold of everything. And so, yeah, I was just telling him, like, there are times when he'll be like, oh, you don't have to do it again. Look at your legs your legs are going to get swollen, blah, blah, blah. But he will say that, and then he will still help me. He will help me with Ethan. At that time, I was pregnant for Zoe. He will help me with Ethan. He will do stuff around the house, and he will just let me do what I want to do, because he knows that, I mean, that makes me happy. And I feel like, oh, I've learned something today. I've not just sat in the house the whole day watching TV and not doing anything for myself. So you want to get a supportive spouse for yourself, sis. Get a supportive spouse after coronavirus. Okay, so the next point I want to talk about is you need to find out ways to monetize the skills that you've built on. Find out ways to make money from your skills. Just like I said, I started learning how to make wigs. I was making for myself, but after a while I was like, sis, you can make wigs and sell. And I started selling my wigs. I started plaiting people's hair. I went on YouTube, and that's why I started my YouTube channel. I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't even know I was going to make money, but when I realized that money can come from it, right now I've received my second YouTube paycheck, and that's awesome. And it's going to only keep on increasing as time goes by. So you sitting wallowing in self-pity, complaining, talking to your parents, talking to your friends, anybody, everywhere, anytime, is not going to help you. It's about you investing in yourself, by yourself, on your own, and making progress as the days go by, and trusting God through the process. And the thing is also, when I talk about finances, you have to be careful that you're not just somebody that is drawn to money. You don't just have this selfish desire to have money. It should be more about self-development. It should come from within. And you should also think about investing in people's lives. Like, the truth is that a lot of women, you marry a very wealthy man, you marry a man that is well-to-do, and aside from, I mean, our generation, I think that we are more better off than our parents, because our parents were probably in marriages where their husbands saw them as things that they could use. I mean, I was watching a video by Nello Okeke and her mother-in-law, and she was saying that people will marry more wives so that they can come and work in their farm. Meanwhile, for us now, I mean, in most cases, in a lot of cases, I can't really give statistics on that, but in a lot of cases, you see that the men actually do take care of their wives in terms of finances. You see a woman who is not working, but she's balling, she's living large, because she has a man that is supporting her in terms of finances. So don't be that person that is just greedy in terms of finances. That's why you want to do everything. You should be somebody that just loves growth and loves just has passion for doing things and improving on themselves and getting better. So if you're 21 years old and you're married and you're dependent on your husband, it's okay. And then another thing I want you to know is the fact that your husband's money is your money. If people have signed joint property, your husband's money is your money. Don't be deceived. It's your money. So you have to know that as he's making it, you're making it. Okay? And in as much as you're struggling to build yourself and to get a career for yourself, or maybe get like something that you're doing with your hands that can give you money, you also have to know that you have the right to chop the one that your husband is bringing, because it's your money. Okay, sis, it's your money. That's what marriage is all about. It's two people coming together and becoming one. So his money is your money, my money is my money. You guys, I hope that you've learned something from this video. And then another last thing I want to say is take advantage of social media. Use the social media wisely. The social media is a very, very wonderful platform that God has given us. The social media can make you be in the UK when you're in Cameroon. The social media can give you so much market for yourself and your product. So take advantage of the social media and use it wisely. So those are the tips I had to share with you guys. Young married lady, take it from a sister who has gone through it. Do something for yourself and be happy. Thank you guys for watching this video, and see you guys on my next video. Bye. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. See you guys on my next video.